one of the amazing things about COVID, obviously tons of awful things. I personally know people who passed away from COVID, really, and the isolation. I think I work with, like I said, dementia patients, and the isolation that people in senior living facilities in particular had to go through, not to mention everybody outside of institutions, but just the isolation associated with COVID. I mean, so much of it was so horrible. But one of the silver linings, I think, is around this conversation of chronic fatigue. Is there are a lot of people who've been sick for decades going like, it started with a virus. I had a virus and I've never recovered from it. And so COVID is not unique, and that there's this long haul kind of syndrome that's been happening for a long time. And all of these poor people have had no explanation for like, why am I still sick from this virus I had in 2008, right? And I hope that because COVID was so clear, right? It was unique to everyone. Lots of people got it. There's this massive disparity in terms of how people reacted to it. And so again, like this conversation that it's the host, not necessarily the pathogen. Right. And how do we create hosts that are really resilient? And that goes back to reducing toxins, balancing nutrients, making sure stressors are balanced, that our mindset is where it needs to be, socializing, all of those, not just the me, but like the we component of like, what are my social dynamics? And then structural components of like, do I have sleep apnea? Is my airway open at night? That's going to suppress lots of things, including oxygen flow to the brain, of course, but also immune function. Is it going to be as robust if you don't get good sleep at night? And then infections, that infectious burden. If we travel a lot and we have animals and we've picked up parasites, or we have dental infections in our mouths, things that might not seem like they're debilitating day to day, but that kind of tickle or irritate our immune system in a way that reduces global immune function, that's going to make us more susceptible. And so cataloging these, going through them systematically so that we can understand what our susceptibility is, I think is really what's most important, in my opinion, when I approach someone with COVID, long haul COVID.